The Egyptians are even smarter than we know.
Who actually built the pyramids? Now, I don't mean the pharaoh or the king who commissioned it, I mean the actual workers. Who were they and where did they come from? And to understand this, we have to understand how Egyptian society was structured at the time. Funny enough, Egyptian society actually looked like a pyramid, with the king at the top, who we call the pharaoh, and slaves right at the bottom. But what I want to talk about is the peasants. The bulk of Egyptian society at the time was made up of peasants, i.e. farmers.
Great.
And for them, the year was split into 3 parts. You had the flooding season, the planting season,
See, this is what I was talking
and
about.
the harvest season.
You're completely
During
at the
flooding
mercy of the
season,
Nile and
well,
the seasons.
they didn't really have much to do. So there was a mandatory service that they had to participate in. Think of it this way. It's the same as being called up into the army, but you don't actually have to fight. Instead, you have to participate in various projects.
You have to farm.
It could be things like road building,
to the
temple
National
building,
Service, to the
or in this
Farming
case,
Union.
pyramid building. This system still existed up until 1914 when they built the Suez Canal, using conscripted workers.
Wow.
So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, if you're a farmer, why would you actually bother to go and build a pyramid for the pharaoh? Well, it's because the land isn't yours. For the majority of the peasants, i.e. farmers in Egypt, the land belonged to the king, i.e. the pharaoh.
Okay,
So during that flooding season, they would have no choice but to go and work for him on whatever he decided that they were going to do that year.
I mean, this little video, it is entirely relying on the mainstream view that the pharaohs commissioned and built the pyramids. The truth is, we don't truly know who built the pyramids. You can't date stone. There are some megalithic architectural clues that could point to the buildings being older. Technology didn't go in a linear line in Egypt. The earliest structures from the earliest dynasties were the most impressive. And then later, as they tried to make more pyramids, so many pyramids in Egypt just don't exist today. They've broken into dust and they've fallen down. Apart from a few of them, which were built differently, they've got a different structural process. It kind of looks like they were made by 2 different societies in general. So that's why there's a lot of people re-looking at the pyramids and rethinking about it and saying, is it possible that the pyramids were already there and the Egyptians came, inherited these structures, tried to replicate them with all the other pyramids that they made, and those pyramids, the mud brick ones, just couldn't last because they could never replicate the crazy mind-blowing technology that it took to create these ones. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. I'm interested. I'm looking into it myself. I am open to the idea that the pyramids are older or inherited from another civilization.
Otherwise, they would probably lose their land and their other livelihoods. Now the big question, were they slaves? Now that of course is debatable,
they weren't slaves.
depending on how you see forced labour or mandatory labour as being. But we do know that they were well looked after, and they were housed and they were fed. And they were actually paid. You also have to understand the mentality of the ancient Egyptian at the time. The king was like a god to them. So there was a religious element to them participating.
So when people say, oh, we've got evidence for the workers on the site of Giza, I'm like, yeah, you have evidence for workers on the site of Giza, but there are many structures and causeways and temples and buildings, and there were many things that were going on the Giza plateau over a long period of time. And so we have evidence for people working on the plateau, but it's not necessarily the evidence of people making the pyramids. It could be any of the other structures, buildings, or things that were going on the plateau at the time. Technically. Just saying.
In this project. And
Okay.
I can imagine that building his tomb for the afterlife was kind of an honour. But was there any actual slaves participating in the building of the pyramids? In my opinion, I believe that they were in the quarries. We know that in ancient Egypt, slaves got sent to the quarries quite often
This
as
guy's
punishment.
got a very relaxing voice. Kind of sleepy.